Hello, good morning, or good afternoon, good evening. As I said in my last video, this morning we're gonna read over TXT's Weverse magazine interviews that they had in anticipation, for their Star chapter, Sanctuary comeback. I didn't get to make a video about it when they first came out, the interviews. So I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to read their interviews. How to wake up so early? It's all about the commitment. Okay, so yeah, the interviews were released on November 16th. Right? Actually, no. Earlier than that. November 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. They released the interviews one by one, starting with Soobin, then Beomgyu, Huening Kai, Taehyun, then Yeonjun. So we're gonna read in that order. Soobin. Oh, sorry. So for those of you who have either watched or haven't watched my last video, TXT or their agency Big Hit Music made an announcement that they're going to go for a long-term break. And in my last video, I talked about how they had such a busy year and productive year, 2024. So to celebrate their achievements, let's read their Weverse magazine interviews. Starting with Soobin, I thought I should just try to shine as I am. Comeback interview. He once tried to become a lush, towering forest, but he realized that people will love him for exactly what he is, a deep, rolling ocean, and so he decided to remain as whom he always has been, an ocean named Soobin. And I'm reading Weverse magazine's official English translation. 울창한 숲이 되려 애썼던 바다는 깊고 일렁이는 바다 그대로 남아있기로 했다. Comparing Soobin to an ocean, deep rolling ocean. Am I the only one experiencing the audio fading in and out? Let me know if other people have issues. Long term is a wrong term. If only 30 days. I hope they take more time. Yeah, we'll have to see. You took a trip to Vietnam earlier this year with Beomgyu. I heard you planned the whole thing. Soobin. I'm usually the kind of person who just goes around without a real plan. But since we don't get much vacation time, right here, I figured we'd better go all out and do everything we could in one go. So I tried planning it all out. Beomgyu just wanted to go with the flow, but there was a ton of stuff I wanted to do. I'm sure it's not easy taking a trip or spending your time off with the same people you spend all your time with. Very true. Soobin, I hang out a lot with the rest of the group on my own time too, though. 3 of us were all hanging out together just yesterday. To be perfectly honest, it doesn't feel like anything special since we're always together 365 days a year, but I'm also most comfortable around them for the same reason. It shows their tight teamwork that they have, right? And it kind of reminds me of how BTS members say that they hang out with each other all the time too. Sometimes people start bickering with each other when they get too comfortable with one another, but you're always so kind. Like how you gifted Beomgyu with a nap in that the perfect way to rest video when you remember he was feeling tired. Soobin, I think I'm good at picking up on things. I don't know if I can do it with everyone, but at least with the other members of the group, I'm pretty good at telling how they're feeling or if they're not feeling well. As soon as I see one of them, I can tell, oh, he looks a little rough today, or he's sure in a good mood today. Laughs. If they seem down, I go over to them to find out what's wrong and talk it over. What's this video? Oh, sorry. Your kindness also comes across when you're with animals, like in the Our Tomorrow video, where you took care of one dog who was so nervous that it didn't get a chance to eat any treats. Have you always been drawn to people and creatures that are small and left out? Our Tomorrow video? 유기견 보호센터. 함께서도 이 기적 같은 우리의 미라클을 찾아서. Miracle is a reference to one of the tracks on their album, Minnesota 3, I think. Soobin, so much. In fact, I was really shy and struggled to fit in when I was a trainee. I was really lonely at first, so when time passed and I finally got accustomed to things, if I saw another trainee who was shy and couldn't adjust, I felt like looking out for them. Kai was among them. Laughs. That's how I ended up becoming really close with him. You talked about the cat your sister adopted recently, explaining how it used to be shy because it had a hard life in the past, but that it finally opened up this year. Soobin, I went to see the cat when my sister first got it, but I couldn't even see it that first time. It just hid under the couch. It was so shy that I thought I'll never get to pet it, but the last time I saw it, it came right up to me and started purring, wanting to be petted. It was able to overcome its painful past and open up to my family thanks to all the love they show looking after it. Love really does have the power to change anything. There's this photo. You also said on Weverse Live recently that you made a new friend who you can talk about dramas, movies, and books with. Soobin, for me, dramas and movies don't end with watching them. After you're done watching, that's when things are just getting started. This could be very relatable for some people. I always look up reviews and analysis online. People can watch the same thing and they'll all have their own thoughts on it, true. So I'm curious about all those different views, and now I have someone to talk about that with. They know a lot more about books and movies than I do, so I end up learning a lot when we're sharing our thoughts together. Just having a friend to share my interests with is really fun. I wonder who that friend is. 새로운 친구. Okay. You mentioned talking about Inside Out too. And you looked at how it features a place to store things you've heard that you want to keep for a long time, which got you thinking about what sort of things you would want to hold on to. Soobin, I kept recalling things my friends say after we hang out. Things like, Soobin, I'm so happy we're friends, and I feel great whenever I'm with you. Hearing things like that really touches my heart. Seriously, how often do you get to hear things like that in life? I used to find expressing things like that awkward and weird, but thanks to my friends, I'm getting used to saying I love and appreciate people. That's heartwarming. You empathize with how anxiety works harder and feels more anxious than others because they want to be good at things. Are there things you feel you should work harder at than other people? Anxiety. Oh, I was wondering why this word is capitalized, anxiety, but it refers to one of the characters in Inside Out. Correct? Subin, I'm actually slower at learning choreography compared to the other members. I assumed I would get a lot better after debuting and regularly performing on stage, but progress was slower than I expected. I didn't say anything about this before, and I kept it a secret from the other members. But I actually got separate choreo lessons on the side when we were doing Chasing That Feeling. Chasing That Feeling and Deja Vu. We'd take lessons as a group, and then once I was alone, I would always spend about an hour dancing and working on the little details. I tried so hard with those two most recent songs that I even practiced on my own like that. Seeing as I'm slow, I have to work harder to keep up with the other members. If I had more time, I want to practice more for this comeback too. This comeback referring to Star Chapter, Sanctuary. This part reminds me of BTS Jin, who used to say that he also practiced on his own for choreography because he's slower than the other members in terms of mastering dance moves. With all the touring you have done and the encore performances you have coming up, it must have been really hectic getting ready for your Star Chapter Sanctuary comeback. Subin, the schedule was really tight this time around. We even had to record vocals in Japan in the middle of the tour since we were in and out of the country. But now that we are in our sixth year, the five of us were all really fast about things. I could sense that we had grown compared to before, since we were faster at recording than we could have expected to be in the past, and it took us less time to work out the details of the choreography. I wonder if it's because of the year-end schedule. Because TWS, to us, who's part of Playlist Entertainment, also said that they didn't really have much time for their comeback, the comeback that they just had with their latest album. So it must be that. I hope that they didn't rush things for a particular reason. Maybe it was just the whole thing was pre-planned, and then they have to follow it, right, at year end. The album subtitle, Sanctuary, is a word that has appeared in Tomorrow by Together albums before. What's been your sanctuary these days? Subin, I never used to have a sanctuary, which made getting through tough times hard, but I do now. Simple things like working out or reading. It feels like the things that break me away from overthinking and let me immerse myself in something else are my sanctuary. You were complimented on your previous promotions for your improved vocals and high notes. What about on this album? Subin, actually, every other album we have done had a song in a genre I wasn't confident in, but not this time. The single Over the Moon is really laid back, and I felt like it was perfect timing for us to try out a song like that. What's unfortunate is that I caught this horrendous cold during recording. Oh, okay. We started practicing for live performances recently, and the director said Subin's singing better than he did when recording. He makes it sound effortless, so I couldn't help but think about how much better I could have done if only my throat had been in better shape. Didn't know about that. You'll always focus a lot on lyrics. Were there any on this album that have stuck with you in particular? Subin. This album isn't so much about telling some big, sweeping story as it is about everything we have been through together. Now that we've been through all that chaos, it's about the universal emotion of love which everyone can relate to, and I like that about it. There's a line in Higher Than Heaven that sticks with me that goes, I think I kinda get what forever means now. Let me go back to the Korean version. 난 이제 영혼의 뜻을 알 것 같아. Okay. I think I kind of get what forever means now. And by chaos, he means the chaos chapter, right? In terms of the album series. I even once said I never used to believe in the word forever. But I think I can now, thanks to our fans. I didn't write that part, but it's like it was written to perfectly capture my feeling. The other members have probably had an impact on your belief in the word forever, too. Soobin, I'm pretty sure we're going to grow old together and then we'll be together till the day I die. Oh, okay. That's touching. 나중에 늙어 죽을 때까지 만날 것 같은 사람들이에요. We do the same thing and basically live the same life day in and day out. So we know what makes each other cry the most during concerts too. Whether it's my tears of happiness or Beomgyu's tears of disappointment from a leg injury, having friends to understand and share those feelings with is nice. They're all just really kind people, calm and clear like a stream. None of us is domineering or splashing around, disturbing the peace, and nobody's dirtying the water. So I think we'll be able to stick together for a long, long time. You said before that you had found being on stage tough while touring. Now that you've already wrapped up your third world tour, do you still find that to be the case? Soobin, I think I'm getting better over time. I still can't say that I completely enjoy myself, but the worries I used to have before going on stage have gone away entirely. Great. There used to be times where I found it hard to watch myself on stage because I didn't like how I looked, but now I see myself up there and I think I look cool. That's cute. Laughs. The way you have a different outfit on for every sound check when you're on tour is definitely cool. Soobin. For fans who come even though they're busy, showing up hours before the concert just to wait, doing it purely out of love, I wanted to be more stylish, so I bought a lot of clothes just for sound checks. Great fan service. The glasses plus cardigan combo was something I bought in advance for summer, and the reaction from the audience was amazing. They showed me on the big screen, and Moa was screaming their lungs out, like, not the usual wow, but like shock and awe. Haha. I was worried I went overboard with the look, but they showed like they liked it, so I was happy. Which outfit is he talking about? 안경 카디건 착장. 수빈. 투바투 수빈 안경 카디건 착장. This one? But he was talking about sound checks though. Okay. For now, let's move on. There's no way not to bring up your cover of the Choi Yu Ri song Forest. When talking about you, you said that the people around you are like tall trees in a forest, and that you thought you're one of them, but that you figured out you're actually more like the ocean. Ooh, that's kind of deep. 최유리 씨의 숲 커버. Okay. Soobin, it's easy to find people around me who are better looking and sing and dance better than I do. I actually started thinking about that at Lollapalooza. The other members looked so happy and like they were having so much fun on stage, but I couldn't. I felt eaten up inside, seeing myself not being able to fully enjoy it because of all the pressure. Then I heard Choi explaining that Forest is about feeling that you're not good enough, and I thought, so that's what I've been going through. I started to understand my emotions a little bit better. Everyone ends up comparing themselves to others at some point in their lives. It's unavoidable. And they have times where all they can see are the things they hate about themselves. But it's ridiculous. I was overflowing with negative feelings when I was working on my forest cover, but I wanted to sort of deal with those feelings and express them. Soobin, forest cover. Okay. Yeah, so if you haven't watched, go check this out. I might watch this on my own. The music video echoes your thoughts that someday you'll come to shore and become one with the forest. What does the forest mean to you? He even had a music video for this? Soobin. Okay. Soobin, just being a singer who's good at singing and dancing, interacting with my fans, enjoying performing, and being able to do it all with complete sincerity. I think I was showing how the forest to me means being happy with the other members when they're happy. Nothing big, just simple things I'm not always that good at. Do you feel more like a forest now that some time has gone by? Subin, I saw a ton of comments from fans after I covered Forest. My mindset when I was doing it was right now I'm like the ocean, but I'll become a part of the forest just like you guys. So wait for me until then. But once I saw what fans were writing, I changed my mind and thought, do I really need to become a part of the forest? I could be similar to the forest, but I don't have to change myself to be one. My fans kept saying the whole reason we liked you in the first place is because you're like the ocean, not because we hoped you'd become like a forest. If that were the case, we'll like somebody else. Why do you think it was you? Okay. The ocean comes with its own perks, you know. You need to have some ocean near a forest to add to the scenery and have more things to do. Now I think maybe I tried too hard to fit in by trying to be like the forest. Now I feel like I can shine bright just by being myself. That sounds quite poetic. This interview is quite long. Oh, we're almost there. Um, I enjoy this. That lines up with what you recently said in our interview you did in Japan when you said that your 20s, the best and most energetic time of life, are dazzling and fun thanks to knowing Moa. What do you think you'll see when you look back on this youthful period of your 20s? Subin, joy. Every moment of our lives is packed with good times and bad times, joy and sorrow. But in the end, I think I'm on a path towards joy. Even things that are so agonizing that you want to die, so bad you feel like the whole world is against you, and so bad you're certain they're weighing on you forever, eventually pass. Doesn't it almost feel funny sometimes looking back after all that? Yes, it ends up feeling so trivial somehow. Things that felt massive at the time are like a speck in the distance once you get even a little space between them and yourself. Very relatable. Even after all the hardship I went through being a trainee, I can look back now and see there were a lot of good times. Maybe we tend to romanticize the past a bit. Even some of the stuff I'm going through now can be tough, to be honest, but I'm never going to give up. There is still so much I want to give. The amount of joy I derive from doing this is way higher than the amount of difficulty. I think my life is amazing, even right now. Nice. So amazing. I think so too. As time goes on and I get older, when I look back on my youth, my time with TXT, I wonder if it'll look that much more shiny amazing. Maybe I'll feel I was even cooler at this time than I feel I am now. Nice. Yeah, this interview kind of feels philosophical, poetic. You know, I didn't know that Soobin thinks like this. You can find Forest cover if you write Soobin's soup. Okay. I'll Soobin's soup original song. Oh, right here we go. Oh, okay. Yeah. They posted this on official channel. I'll definitely watch this after this. But for now, let's move on. So, um, Subin has not been um, how do I say, not well health wise, which is why they made announcements about that, and they couldn't join them for concerts in Japan. I hope he gets well as soon as possible. But that was a great interview. Learning new things about spin. We're short on time, so let's move on. Next, Beomgyu. MG said, I wish RM would reach out to Soobin. I think RM would be able to give Soobin good advice and could understand Soobin's experience as a leader and as a member. In fact, RM could be a good mentor for anybody. Right? And actually, I mean, including non-artist, non-K-pop artists, but especially for K-pop artists. But that's a great suggestion. Beomgyu, I realize just how much I have for people. I have for performing on stage. Sorry, performing on stage. 내가 무대를 이렇게 사랑했구나. Beomgyu says he spent time he was out with an injury, fallen even deeper in love with the stage. Clearly, the idol draws on hardship to propel himself forward. Even as he talks about the hard times, a humble smile flashes across his face as he adds, but it's okay. Beomgyu, who knows that sometimes you stumble, is fine, knows what it takes to go back on his feet. Season 2 of Workout Jang is really entertaining, just like Season 1. You seem really comfortable doing variety shows now. You're really in your element. But you've also said that you're not usually so energetic. Workout Jang, 운동장 Beomgyu. Workout Jang is a physically demanding show. I figured out during the first season that people find it funnier when I'm really struggling. You can just tell by looking at the view count. The episodes where I had the hardest time always got the most views. The nature of entertainment. I realized not to play it safe and I need to put in as much effort as possible. And I think my genuine love of the show makes that possible. I mean, it's got my name on it. I really love how you're always quick to make your guests feel welcome too. Beomgyu, because I'm playing host to them on my show. I thought a lot about how to approach them without making it awkward. I couldn't do a total deep dive on them, but I tried to be plenty familiar with them. I even watched other variety shows they've been on to see what kind of things they like to do. Huening Kai made a surprise appearance too. Beomgyu, it was great to have someone I had perfect back and forth with on. He was great at coming up with these quips, probably from filming so much content like to do X TXT. He was a lot of fun. Oh, and the aerobics episode was exhausting, and even though it was really hot, and Huening gets hot easily, he was really active during it, which I was grateful for. I was laughing watching that episode by myself when we were in the US, and I showed it to him, and he said, "Hey, this one's really funny." Which one is? Oh, Andromeda Studio. 이들이 지금 몇 분이나 했다고 그래? You talked about the pressure you feel to be good on variety shows. Do you find you're able to enjoy it a bit more now? I was worried right from when we first debuted about what special thing I could do or role I could play to contribute to the group. Thanks to doing Workout Jang, 운동장 Beomgyu, I think I have established myself as the one who's good at doing variety shows. I was really grateful they called me back to make a second season, and I could feel that I have grown a lot from it. My friends I hadn't heard from in ages suddenly contacted me to say, "Hey, this is really funny." And the rest of the group said the same thing and wished me the best with. I felt really proud, like I was being acknowledged. I should go check it out. I have never watched the episodes. 운동장 범규. Huh. In contrast to your overflowing energy when you are on variety shows, the very calmest side of you comes out when you do 범이디오. 범이디오? 범이디오. Okay. Part of it is about showing what I'm like at 3 in the morning, but the best part is getting to read what Moa sends in. Reading their stories let me visualize and indirectly experience things I haven't experienced myself. I read them all through quickly and thoroughly before going live. There's a whole lot of people who write really beautifully. A lot of times I feel like I understand them so well that I get choked up and reading them. And I'm always thankful for the ones that end with "I love you, Beomgyu." You said on Pomidio, when it comes to sharing happiness, the person doing the sharing doesn't end up with less, and it fills the hearts of the people who receive it, too. If you could share one thing that made you happy recently, what would it be? Honestly, this year's been filled with a lot of great, good experiences. I'm making an effort to find happiness even in the smallest things now. There were minor things, like when we had our Deja Vu comeback. I felt great because the outfits were beautiful. I helped write the lyrics for 2 tracks on the latest album, and that made me extremely happy. And I've been incredibly happy going to my favorite artist concerts and doing our own. I would say there was more happiness than sadness this year. Even though it's been a year full of happiness, there was also a painful period for you because of an injury. I can guess how tough that was for you considering you were crying at the end of the concert. Oh, by the way, please remind me which 2 tracks that he was involved with writing the lyrics on the latest album. I'll go check it out on my own though. Meanwhile, Beomgyu said, "It was really hard for me mentally. That was right when I was deep into my work. We had this great schedule lined up. And as things started to fall apart, it felt like my mental state fell apart with it. And we were at the Tokyo Dome. I thought we are at this place with this huge audience and I can't even perform. It killed me. On the other hand, though, it also had a positive impact on me in a way. That was my first time watching the other members perform from offstage, and I could see how amazing and impressive they were. The place was packed, and hearing them cheer, I was like, I'm doing something really amazing. I'm working with some really amazing people. I found it really motivating. So it seems like TXT members really have this healthy mindset. Although I've read Beomgyu's interview and Soobin's interview so far, but still. Didn't it also make you think about how you're just amazing and when you're up on the stage, Beomgyu? I thought I can absolutely slay when I'm on stage too. I think the others were amazing and put on an absolutely flawless performance as just the 4 of them, but I have certain ways of expressing myself and there's some breathtaking parts that only I can do, you know? I thought I don't even care if my foot gets more broken. I just want to be on stage. I took performing on stage for granted, but as soon as I wasn't able to, I realized just how much love I have for it. Looking at the positive side of an event, that's great. All the rest of them carried you around when you got hurt at the Tokyo Dome, Beomgyu said. It was really reassuring to me and I was so grateful to them, but in a way, I also felt really sorry. When a concert's coming towards the end, we've already used up so much energy that just standing by itself can be hard at that point. I realized how hard it was for them to carry me around under those circumstances. You said "We'll Never Change" is the Tomorrow by Together song that made you cry the most. The practice period for it overlapped with when you were injured, Beomgyu said. It was when we had already learned all the choreo for Japan and were about to start practicing for "Will Never Change." I couldn't learn any of it because of my injury and was just staying in my room. But I said, I really want to go to Japan. I want to sing even if I have to sit. And I sat in for lessons for the live performance. I felt sort of insignificant sitting at the back just singing while all the other members were dancing, and I felt terrible. I shed a tear or two at the back, but I doubt they would know that. I remember you said you were disappointed that your injury kept you from making the people who came to your concerts into total moa. It's really admirable how passionate you've always been about converting people into fans. I'm in it for the long run. Great to hear that. There's still so much I want to accomplish. Celebrities like BTS, IU, or Day6 feel like celebs. I feel like you have to see them in concert at least once in your life, and I want to receive recognition from my fellow artists and be the kind of person that they want to see in concert too. I take pride in the quality of our concerts. I used to think accomplishments didn't matter all that much. I thought, as long as Moa's happy and I'm happy, that's enough. And that it's better just to be nice and happy. But lately, I feel driven to do even better anyway. Sounds ambitious. Ambitious in a very positive way. 자부심도 있고요. 성적이 크게 상관이 없다고 생각했어요. You showed off your guitar skills at this year's Weverse Con festival, which you practiced for until you got blisters on your fingers. Did it come from the same drive? It was no easy task. I kept up my lessons online when we were in the US and even gave up my vacation to keep learning and practice. I love playing guitar, but it isn't my specialty. Lots of people are pros at it, so I was worried about the thought of me going up on stage and playing it, but I decided to just go for it. It's difficult to master anything, and practice was the only way for me to make it happen. Moa loved it in the end, so I was proud. You've been going to see a lot of other artists perform lately. How does it feel being in the audience after being the one on stage? Beomgyu said, watching things purely from a fan's perspective showed me how joyful the concert-going experience can be. One time I went to IU's concert and sitting in the audience at that huge venue and watching her, I felt how amazing a thing it is to be a fan of somebody and show them your love. I felt how amazing a thing it is to be a fan of somebody and show them your love. I became determined to give Moa not just 100% but 150 or 200% at our concerts. Yeah, I feel like if you're an artist, you should definitely go see other artists' concerts just to share that feeling with your fans, which is exactly what Beomgyu is talking about right here. You know, that's great. The last track on your album, new album, The Star Chapter Sanctuary, is called Higher Than Heaven. And it feels like it perfectly captures Tomorrow by Together and Moa's connection, especially the part where you go, I'll hold on to eternity, our names. Let's dream of an endless tomorrow together. Let's read in Korean too. 지킬게 영원을 우리의 이름을 계속될 내일을 함께 꿈꿔. Beomgyu said, I thought those lyrics were absolutely wonderful. Let's dream of tomorrow together. Sounds so romantic. Since we are in our 6th year now, I think it's time we focus on the future more than the past. What I want now is to keep looking toward the future with the other members and with Moa, to see them there tomorrow. The part where you go, what you doing to me, in danger, is a real standout. It felt like you were using a voice we haven't heard from you before. I practically insisted that the producer give that part to me. I said, I promise I'll kill that part, and that clinched it for me. When I was recording it, I had to get the pronunciation and nuance to work together, and do it all in a really deep voice, so it was kind of hard. I couldn't get the tone right when I looked alert and ready, so I tried making a pose like someone who's about to start a fight, stuffing my hands in my pockets, tilting my head slightly, and saying it that way. And then I was able to really bring out the right feeling. You said before that sometimes a song doesn't feel quite right until you've heard the group singing it, and then it sounds better. Are there any songs on this album that were like that? 41 Wings. It's actually my top pick. I loved it right from the start, in fact. I always connect more with the songs after I hear them with the group's vocals. The demo versions are good, but if it really feels like a Tomorrow by Together song when you hear it with our vocals. You mentioned you were happy to write lyrics for two of the new songs. What was that process like? Okay, so he's telling us about it. It wasn't anything special. I find it's best to write lyrics as the thoughts naturally come to you and not overthink it. I worked on Resist, Not Gonna Run Away, while we were touring. That's my favorite track on this album. I was writing like, that was what I said as HYBEBOY, sorry. I was writing like crazy on a 3-hour trip to a ryokan in Japan, and I think the lyrics came out well. You said before that you tend to have an ear for what people generally like. How did you feel when you first heard the single Over the Moon? At first, I thought it was good, but not lead single good. But I fell in love with it once I heard it with the group's vocals. It's got a feeling that can't be described in just one word. It's not just this one's upbeat or what a tough image. It's got a little bit of this and that and everything in it. It feels like one of our songs or Tomorrow by Together ish. I kind of agree with that. 청량의 콘셉트야. Yeah, it's a mix of little bit of this and that. Over the Moon, which I truly love. You truly have a deep affection for the group. During Yeonjun's first solo promotions, Gum, right? All the other members sent him a coffee truck and repeatedly visited in person to support him. Beomgyu said, it was the first solo work for any TXT member, and I knew how hard he worked on it. While the rest of us took it easy, Yeonjun had to be getting ready for it. I really empathized with how much pressure he must have felt. As a member of the group, I thought about what I could do and decided all I could do was go support him in person, buy him a little something, and go cheer him on. You truly have a deep affection for the group. Wait, why did I repeat this twice? That's a huge glitch there. So if you are a Weverse magazine staff and watching this, please, I think you can fix this. Although I doubt that they're watching. But anyways, you recently wished on a sky lantern in Taiwan for the people you know to be happy, not for yourself. Beomgyu said, I really just hope that everyone I love and everyone who loves me is healthy and happy. I think it's always like that. I'm more concerned with others being happy because of me than I am for my own happiness. You can sacrifice or give up things and still feel like, okay, as long as you're happy, I'm fine. It doesn't mean I'm not happy. I can take care of my own happiness, honestly. That's why I wrote that. You have to be happy yourself in order to share that happiness with others. If you were going to write down a wish not for the people close to you, but just for yourself, what would it be? There isn't really anything I wish for. I'm content with who I am right now. Such a healthy mindset. Right? I love it. And my favorite part of this interview when he said that I'm in it for the long term. Yeah, I'm in it for the long run. That was great. Let's see. Let's look at what people were saying. Sorry. So the human job's house cut west from I'm in the million from not accessible as in the past. Set times they're able to use their phones. They still have set times they are able to use their phones. True. In the evening, after they're done with daily routines in the military, you get to have your phones until lights out. Make time for what is important to them. They'll be there when they are needed. talking about BTS. Some of you are armies and MOAs at the same time, simultaneously. Could give advice and mentorship, actually. Leader like Soobin, which is why I mentioned arms specifically. True. Want TXT to be healthy, happy, and successful. Fighting Soobin. Very healthy. They can freely express what they feel at this early stage of their career. Good for them. I didn't know BTS's Junior's epic hit. The boys seemed so sweet and funny on Shuchita. TXT are great. Prefer male singer group over female groups, so if I ever find my way out of the BTS rabbit hole, I'll be giving TXT 17 and a hyphen a try. BTS rabbit hole. There's a documentary on Disney Plus called Our Lost Summer. There's a TXT documentary on Disney Plus. Our Lost Summer. Oh, their first world tour post-pandemic. I should go check it out. All right, let's move on. 2025 is only 20 days away. True. Yes. Suggestions for names of HYBEBOY listeners. Honeys? Oh. Cool. Let's move on. But yeah, I love this interview. Beomgyu. I kind of feel like it will feel really different if you read the interview in Korean too, which I will do on my own and edit it into a separate video. Do we have time for one more? Huening Kai, 모아들 덕분에 저 자신을 사랑하게 되었어요. I love Huening Kai, and I saw how talented he is musically by watching the contents. What was it called? Huening Kai는 밴드를 하고 싶어서 Huening wanted to do a band. It was it's kind of regrettable that it was too short. It was like 5 episodes or 6 episodes, right? Huening Kai, I learned to love myself thanks to Moa. He cleared out his favorite hoodies and learned how to handle Cubase with ease. Cubase is recording software. While many things keep on changing, some things are forever constant. The music, the group, and more. They are the true passions of Huening Kai, whose confident tone reassures us of his commitment to forever. And musicians use Cubase to produce beats, for example. Although for recording-wise, the industry standard is Pro Tools. But yeah, I hope that he talks about like music making in this interview. We'll see. You cleared out some of your hoodies and stuffed toys. What you called your how do you read this? Horcruxes. 호크룩스라 정리했어요. Okay. Well, the hoodies were way too small for me anyway. I wanted to try out some new styles too, so I cleared them out. I decided I needed to ditch the hoodies first and try something prettier, including buying some knit sweaters. I also felt I could do away with my old stuffed dolls and replace them with some new fluffier ones. It's hard the first time you get rid of stuff, but I found it gets easier after that. You made a lot of big changes in different areas. You've been keeping up with your exercise even throughout the Act Promise World Tour, forming the TXT exercise team, and regularly taking TXT, today's exercise done, photos, laughs. I think by this, they mean 오운완, right? 오운완, 오늘 운동 완료의 줄임말. 물 마시다 만나 Huening. Huening Kai. I always take TXT shots. I share them in our group chat. I started working out to boost my self-esteem since they say it helps, and it definitely helps keep my mind off things when all you can think about is how tiring it is. Yes, definitely. So, doing physical exercises does help you mentally for exactly that reason. You can't help but lose weight if you box. It's the only thing that makes me sweat as much as performing in concert. He boxes? Boxing. Oh. There's someone on staff who's been doing CrossFit for a long time, so I recently started too. My goal was never to bulk up and get these huge muscles in the first place, but to have a slim build with lean muscles. So CrossFit seems like a good fit for me. And Moa, you don't have to worry. I'm not going to overdo it. 잔근육. 부락부락하게 키우는 것보다는. A lot of Moa were surprised the way you threw the guitar during the performance of Growing Pain on the Act Promise tour. Huh. My image sure underwent a transformation. I wanted to show how even someone like me, who's usually so pure and soft, has some rock star inside him. I looked up different ways of capturing the idea of smashing up the stage. I initially thought about breaking the guitar, but I figured throwing would be better. That was all I did early on in the tour, but by the time we take it to the US, I experimented a lot, throwing the pick and flipping my bangs back later on. I was happy I got to show off a different side of myself through all that. You've always had a knack for playing instruments and like playing them for fun. How do you feel? How do you feel now? How do you feel now? There's another typo. How do you feel now that your YouTube series Huening Kai wants to start a band is over? Yeah, that's the thing. Series that I was talking about. I love playing instruments and being in a band, so I was thrilled to be able to make it. Just holding an instrument in my hands makes me feel happy, and actually interacting with and jamming with a band felt like a quintessentially youthful experience. The whole thing was fun to shoot. It never felt like work to me. I approached it like I was going to hang out with a school band, and yeah, it did feel exactly like that, which I really appreciated. You know, and seeing how passionate he is about music and how talented he is, I hope he gets to have more opportunities to produce and make his own songs in the future. But just like Beomgyu said, they're in it for the long run, right? So I'm sure they'll have more opportunities like that. But on Chikai, their Japanese single, he did produce the last track on that album. The song is in Japanese, but he was responsible for production, and I quite loved it. The rock sound was quite incredible. Let's see, here are the photos. Great looking. What do you think makes being in a band so uniquely appealing? Huening Kai said, I think it comes down to the eye contact you make while playing together. Eye contact with each other, the band members. I think chemistry is the most important part of a band, and when you're looking at each other in the eye and having a good time together, you feel truly united. Rock has the power to make unforgettable memories for both the band playing and their audience. I heard Moa saying they're interested in playing in bands now or want to get back into learning an instrument. Huening Kai wants to start a band was a huge motivation for me, and it makes me happy thinking it planted the seeds for some great dreams among Moa. I hope they challenge themselves to pursue whatever they want and achieve their goals, whether that's playing in a band or something else. Just the act of trying something new takes a lot of courage, and if they build up some experience, they can truly enjoy their youth. Great advice. And I love it when fans get like positive influence from their artist, it's like a positive feedback loop. What form did that sense of youthfulness take on when you were making the show? It's the kind of youthful experience you can only experience during your university years, full of excitement, sorrow, and happiness all mixed together. The song Kito Zuto, yeah, that's the one I refer to, is actually supposed to be about how I felt filming the Yonsei University episode. I seem to remember working on it between filming episodes 2 and 3. I tried to make the chord progression feel both bright and also have a refreshing, youthful vibe. The very first thing I made was a piano track, but it felt a bit bland, so I turned off the BPM and then it sounded great. The funny thing was that I tried to play at that higher BPM, but my fingers couldn't keep up. Since it would have been a little bland with just a piano, I felt like it'd be nice to have a catchy melody, so I had a guitar riff repeat from the intro onward. That's the main highlight of Kitozuto. The drums gradually build up the sound and create a sense of flow. I love it when he talks about music. How do you think it compares to the first song you produced, Dear Sputnik? I've grown so much since then. When I was working on Dear Sputnik, I didn't know how to use Cubase, but I used it to make the song this time. It was easy and convenient once I got the hang of it and got better as I used it more and more. Actually, for Dear Sputnik, I created the basic structure, but I got a lot of help from other people since it was less than 2 years since I debuted. I really wanted to contribute a greater share after that, and I did contribute significantly more to Kitozuto. It's the first on a path of hard work towards being able to make a song I can truly call my own. When you had just debuted and you were on Section TV, you said, ever since I was a trainee, my one goal has been to make and perform songs that can move people. To what degree have you achieved your goal? With Dear Sputnik, 30%. Kitozuto, 60%. Still ambitious? Right from when I was first writing Kitozuto, I was thinking about how fun it would be to sing it with Moa in concert. Nothing makes me feel more fulfilled than when I see Moa enjoying a song I produced. When I performed those songs in concert, I went around in front of the audience on the moving stage and could see Moa up close and personal. They all looked so happy. I'm glad I made these songs that Moa can really get into singing along with and that we can touch their hearts with. I think singing them together gives them their final touches. I want to keep making and performing songs that everyone will love and can make them feel happy when they listen to them. And I'm sure he will work on a lot of music during the long-term break that they have right now, right? Which is a positive side of having a break, which I also talked about when I talked about the potential positive influence of military service on BTS members, right? It gives them a new sources of inspiration, and I think Huening Kai will experience that as well while he's on a break. In many ways, the past year has been an excellent showcase of how you've grown musically. You really got people talking when you were on limousine service and when you performed Betelgeuse on the Nippon TV show The Music Day. How do you read this? Oh, Betelgeuse. Okay. Betelgeuse on the Nippon TV show The Music Day. I got lots of messages from people I know. It's the first time so many people have reached out to me like that. I was grateful, but there was something indescribable about it because I feel like I'm still in the process of finding my own voice. I've tried singing with something more like rock vocals, and even though I don't have difficulty hitting high notes, I've been thinking carefully about how to make them sound even better. I would like to find vocals that are a little more unique to me. Obviously, being a good singer is important, but I feel like sometimes that individuality is even more important. You've always been a kind person, but you seem pretty strict with yourself. Only when I feel like I've perfected a skill can I say that I've truly made it mine. I'm sort of a warrior, so I practice on my own outside normal rehearsal time. Our new single, Over the Moon, is hard. My feeling is, if you want to dance well during live shows, it starts with singing perfectly before you ever even stand up. And when I'm performing on stage, I just think, just do it like we practiced. 연습한 대로만 하자, right? I might just end up making mistakes if I try to go beyond that. I guess Over the Moon would have been hard since it's more about making it feel romantic than unfolding a clear sense of progression. What does that mean? 뚜렷한 기승전결보다는 로맨틱한 무드를 살리는 게 핵심이라 쉽지 않았을 것 같아요. Okay, so it was more, the emphasis is more on the mood than simple like song progression. Okay. It's not a sad song, but it doesn't exactly feel cheerful either. Yeah, that's what Beomgyu talked about, right? So I was aiming for a kind of longing middle ground. I start out singing softly to Moa, almost like a whisper, then add in a touch more of that longing in the chorus. I see Over the Moon as me removing the gravelly vocals from how do you read this? 0x1 love song. I know I love you. I know this song. I know I love you. How does the melody go? Featuring Sori and Keep Minute Line. Isn't it that one? I know I love you. Say you love me. Gotcha. Or am I wrong? I need to look this up. Yes, I was correct. I know you love, say you love me, say you love me, say yeah, good gotcha. And that part is Sori, right? When watching Over the Moon, it reminded me of 9 3/4 Runaway, another great track. Exactly, it's got the same ear tapping move on the line, Whisper Me My Name, as in 9 3/4 Runaway. So I ended up watching our old performances for the first time in a while. My image back with this song was meant to evoke the excitement of school days, while in Over the Moon, I tried to convey something a little more mature, like a university student. You also came across as mature the way you led the older members in the 144th episode of To Do X TXT, Abandoned Stars, even though you were the youngest in the group. That's probably the most they've ever needed me. It was scary at first, but I helped them because I felt like they wouldn't be able to go in if it weren't for me. Which episode is it talking about? Pegasus. Okay. And anyway, it was less scary the second time around. I guess it's because I'm a level headed person. They were clinging to me so desperately, I thought my clothes would come off. That was a first. But on the inside, I was actually kind of glad and thinking about how much they need me. Was this like a haunted house or something? Pegasus? You also paid Yeonjun a visit when he was shooting the music video for Gum. Yeonjun was the first one of us to do a solo project, and since I wanted to show my support and express my gratitude, anyway, I brought some 닭강정 we could eat together. This is what 닭강정 looks like. Yummy. But most of all, I really wanted to learn from him. The stage presence he had as he sang from start to finish all by himself, and watching how naturally he ad-libbed towards the end was all pretty amazing. His solo was a good experience for us too. You've always emphasized in interviews how you want to be dependable for the rest of the group. What does trustworthiness mean to you? Teamwork. Boom. The greater the trust between us, the stronger our group becomes. As a member of a kind of team, it's always my hope that the other members can continuously rely on me. That's what being a team is, after all. And honestly, honesty is crucial for mutual trust, of course. In an interview with W Korea, when asked what it takes for a group to last a long time, you said teamwork, being open with each other about feelings. Huening Kai. I actually never used to talk much about feelings. I thought things would just work out over time. But now I talk things over with the people I'm close to, like the other members, my family, and the protocol team, no matter what it is. I really listen to their feedback too. It just feels better that way. But it's not at all easy to open up about what you're feeling inside, of course. You can never just be like that from day one. So I just started slowly, and now I'm more open than I was last year. You posted a letter on Weverse for the 5th anniversary of your debut, and in it, you talked about how you've always been careful to hide your feelings away because you didn't like to talk about them. What made you decide to open up to Moa? I never wanted to let Moa know when I was having a hard time. I always wanted to show them the good sides only. But the longer we were together, the closer we became, and I realized that also talking about those things was the right way to further develop the relationship. Very true. It's not just about the fan artist relationship. This applies to all kinds of relationships, showing the vulnerable side of yourself. That's why I was honest and open in what I wrote on Weverse on March 4th. I resolved to be more honest and open from then on. It takes a lot of courage to be open like that. How did you find it in you to find the courage? It's all thanks to Moa's love. Every time Moa opens up through their fan letters or in person, I can sense their love. The phrase, my youth is tomorrow by together. 내 청춘은 투바투다. It's beautiful. And hearing I love you completely for who you are, no matter what, I love you so much, absolutely fills me with strength. All these people around me were showing me love, but I felt like I didn't love myself. I learned to love myself thanks to Moa. That's beautiful. It's clear that you have an immense amount of love towards Moa, too. Like when you said, it may have been hard doing what it took to debut, but I could do it all again, 100 times, if it meant I could be with Moa. Oh, I wanted to show them just how much I love them. There were a lot of times I felt like giving up before I debuted, but Moa helped me forget all about it. I know what it means to find happiness as an idol thanks to them. I think Moa is what made TXT whole. You seem to want to hold on to the feeling of love for a long time, much like the idea of promising someone eternity in higher than heaven. Was someone or something you feel confident you could love forever? Moa, naturally. Oh. I want to send them somewhere they can be even happier than heaven, like the title Higher Than Heaven suggests. And where is Moa happier than at one of our concerts? I want to keep working hard to write good songs to perform for them in concert. And if Moa's too obvious a choice, then eggs. That's so random. I really love eggs too. 달걀? 계란? 달걀도 진짜 사랑해서. Oh my goodness. I cannot imagine how heartbroken he must have been when he realized that he was too sick to perform at concerts that they had in Korea last month, because he had a digestion problem. Man, that must have been really heartbreaking and sad. So that was Huening Kai's interview. What time is it? 7:13. We have 3 more. Do I have time for that? Before that, let me quickly read over your chat. I wish I could speak Korean. I've tried teaching myself. Learning German. German is super difficult though. But Korean, yeah, it is difficult from the international fans' perspective. So yeah, perhaps in the future I could have like a teaching Korean session for you guys. Cool. So serious. Artists opening up about struggles is helpful for any fans who may be struggling too. Very true. Let me see if I can finish 2 more. So this is Taehyun. You know what? Why not? Let me read one more and see if I can finish. Cool. So if you like to stay on for a little longer, you're welcome to. Taeyeon, I wish happiness for the people who made me feel happy. Taeyeon never speaks in a roundabout way. The idol doesn't mince words, and there's something tender about that. You spent some alone time at the Hangang River a little while back. What do you do when you go there? I buy my choice of drink, a caramel macchiato, and go in search of serenity while I sip it to get the taste of sweetness on my tongue and take in the peaceful scenery with my eyes. It doesn't really inspire me so much as it just sort of feels restorative. I just feel good when I do that. You're probably so busy that you only get little bits of time here and there. But what would you want to do if you could carve some free time out of your busy schedule? I'll have some of that serenity I just mentioned and work out too. I'll probably just do the same things I do in tiny bursts now, but be more relaxed about it. Right now, I exercise when I have little breaks, like when I'm done for the day. It seems like working out is pretty much a part of your routine. It's so routine for me now that sometimes I don't even know why I'm doing it. It's like how gym rats work out with no end goal. It's helpful for my posture since I start hunching over if I haven't worked out in a while. And anyway, if I go straight home after work, I feel like I haven't done enough. I like how it keeps me ready to go and makes me feel productive. I'm glad that these members do work out on their own, even though they must be tired after work and activities. You even keep it up when you're on tour, running to stay in shape or working on your abs for Wanna Be a Rock tinnitus. We did around 30 shows and I showed off my abs every time. That's a very sensual and sexy song. Yeah. I showed them once on tour in Seoul and then I thought people might feel left out if I skipped it anywhere else. I started getting more into food somewhere down the road, so they're slowly disappearing. But I'm slowly, his abs are slowly disappearing. But I'm trying to keep them around one way or another. It hasn't been easy. I make myself run until I'm out of breath when we are on tour because it challenges me in the exact same way as performing. I don't know if it really helps since I've never not done it and therefore don't have data on it, but I believe it does. Boxing. He boxes too? Taeyeon? On the other hand, seems like something you have kept up a long time, not for keeping in shape, but just for fun. Boxing isn't something where you can slow down when you get tired. If your opponent ups their pace, you have to too. But you're just as much an obstacle to them. If you're not fighting for a title or to make it into a competition, then there's no risk of getting hurt. So it's a great way to break a sweat and get in some cardio. You hear sports like these called chess played with the body. Even if you're not as good as your opponent in some ways, you've still got a shot at winning. What makes it so enticing is how you have to hone your skills in order to be powerful. Okay. Interesting. So his 몸으로 두는 체스. So like bodily chess? Chess play with the body. Huh. What does it mean to you to be powerful? It means a lot of different things. There's some boxers who are strong for their weight class and some who can shut out the crowd when they're on their opponent's home turf and win. I think it's partially mental like that. There's people who make a plan and work toward their goal, avoiding any obstacles standing in their way, people who don't fall apart. It feels like that's your approach to your work in some regards. I'll say so too. Those are the kinds of people who get up in front of tons of people at the pro level. We're similar in that we get up on stage and show everybody what we've got after working at it for a while. How do you find touring after working at it for a while? It's been about 2 years since you resumed in-person touring. It feels really overwhelming at first. When you find out how many shows there are, where you're going, and get that set list, is seriously, obviously there's fun parts, but you're running in an unflattering way to get through the walkways underneath. And sometimes you just feel like, let's get it done, or time to go change. I will survive. Then there's parts where time flies, especially when you first get a mic in your hand. It's all about jumping around and having fun together. Going around and getting hyped with the audience happens spontaneously. That's when it gets exciting. I found what you said about your first online fan live event on Weverse Live really memorable. When the camera's not on me, there's nowhere to see me. It was crushing. 카메라를 안 찍을 때 나는 어느 곳에도 보이지 않아. 그게 치명적이었어요. Okay. That was a really weird period since now there was no way for people to know what I was up to when the camera wasn't on me. But there's always somebody looking right at me when we do shows in person. In those cases, I had to be capturing the mood of the songs at all times, and I can't tuck my clothes in right away if I need to, or rub my eye if something gets in there. There's a lot more I have to pay attention to, but they're all minor things. I'm always going to feel grateful as long as people are watching me. 음, 알 수 없는 오프라인 공연. So he's referring to the COVID era, right? If I understand this correctly? You also put a lot of effort in for the tour in regard to your vocals, right? You seem to keep challenging yourself and experimenting in your own unique way. I increase my chances. Yes, totally. I make minute adjustments like how can I make this easier? How can I increase my chances of success? How can I minimize damage to my throat? I try to feel how my body changes every time I do. Even for the sound, I'm in direct communication with them to try and get things right during rehearsals. When you're recording vocals, you can do it over and over to get it right, but you've got people watching you at a concert, so you have to be confident you can keep your vocal steady 10 out of 10 times. I asked our producer, Slow Rabbit, once if he could bring the key down so it wouldn't be so hard to sing so hard live, but eventually it worked out anyway. There's nothing you can't do if you just practice. There we go. There's nothing you can't do if you just practice. That's a life lesson for all of us. If I can't do it, it means I didn't try hard enough. Anything is possible. You sing several ad-libs in the Star Chapter Sanctuary that give a real sense of your vocal style. Do you feel like you've developed your own style while recording vocals now? Recording feels more familiar to me now, and the producer and I can practically read each other's thoughts now, so it's a completely stress-free experience. But there's one thing that's always on my mind. I love so many different genres. I love knowing their history, singing them, and listening to them. But choosing what suits me is a huge challenge. I'm confident I could handle anything they throw at me to 70 or 80% quality, but there's nothing I feel confident I could do at 100%. I don't really know if I'm doing a good job of finding my own style, but knowing people can pick out your voice is something that makes any singer happy and appreciative. It's a really good sign. I personally felt like only you could pull off the 41 Wings intro. 41 Wings intro, how did that go? We recorded that in Japan during the tour, and before the parts were assigned, I heard the song and asked the producer if I could do the first verse. I said I crush it. So he said, okay, and I got to do it, and on the first day of recording, I immediately nailed it. I felt confident about the part. This is how it should go. 아, 이렇게 부르면 되겠다. 41 Wings. I should listen to that one more time. Again, after this. You've also been writing lyrics for a while now. How it go with this new album? I have a lot what I want to write whenever I think of something that will be really fun for TXT to sing. The idea behind Danger is sort of cliche, but we hadn't done something like that before, so that actually made it fun. What was unusual this time was that we were out of the country, so I couldn't take my preferred approach of opening up a bunch of windows on the monitor in the studio and writing on my phone. So we got to learn about his writing process. It was a new experience for me to not settle down in one place and write. I wrote Danger on a plane. You know, a lot of artists, songwriters say that airplane is the best place to write songs or write lyrics. Maybe there's something unique about that place, or some of that is because on the plane you usually don't have access to Wi-Fi, right? So you really get to focus on what's in front of you instead of, doing other things, getting distracted. but that's interesting. So he wrote danger on a plane, resist in a car. But you can only ride in a car if you don't get car sick. I get car sick all the time if I try to read while being on a ride. I have a tendency to drag things out when I'm in the studio sometimes. Yes, right, you get distracted. But when I'm on the go, I end up writing faster sometimes because I feel like I had to get it all down before arriving. Like the ETA is now the deadline. True. The lead single, Over the Moon, has a more straightforward message than previous songs. How did you capture your interpretation of the song? You strike me as someone who really needs to understand what they're saying. It's way more straightforward, but there's still one line I like to hear Moa's interpretations of. Let's make an ancient future. 오래된 미래를 만들자. Right? 오래된 미래를 만들자. I love that line. I need their help because I'm curious how listeners feel about it. I guess Over the Moon is first and foremost about feeling good. Visually, the sense of freedom is important. I also hope anyone who sees it feels like we're steady and talented. So much that it's like, huh? They're so eye-catching. I can't stop thinking about that. If people feel like these guys are so uplifting, who are they at the end of our performance? I'll say it's a big success. We have to bring out the subtle allure to achieve that. The vocals need to be so good, they sound fluid and flexible, and the choreo flawless. Doesn't trying to have that kind of allure make it that much harder? It's way harder. We reduced the amount of group dancing and filled that time with individual choreo instead, which took a lot of work. All group choreo takes is good stamina and a lot of rehearsal time. This approach takes exploration and gut feeling into what makes it look cool. I think we've reached that point in our career now. It's something people who perform 30 shows at a time can do. You've always been the type to practice as hard as you can and just as confidently say so. Is that the case for this album too? Yes. You sound very sure of yourself. I put in everything I got within the time available. That's something I feel I should do. It's just one of those obvious things. I feel a huge weight off focusing like that. Doing my best means putting my heart and soul into it until I feel that nothing will change no matter what might happen. That's what doing my best means, I think. That's something only someone who has poured everything they have into their work can say. What's there waiting at the end of all their hard work? I chose this path because I love being on stage and love singing. And now I have achieved that, but there are times when it becomes necessary to have goals. I want to set loftier goals. I want to do and reach for lots of things under the name TXT, the five of us, and Moa together. There's a lot I need to uphold for the fans, like sharing feelings and promises. We didn't pinky promise, but still, I want to keep going with our group for a long time. And in order for that to happen, people need to keep checking us out, which gives me a sense of certainty. Having some goals and achieving them lets us feel like we're really doing a good job and heading in the right direction. Nice. Two more sections. You've been with the other members for 8 years now, which is over a third of your life. That's true. And I've known Yeonjun for 9 years. Now, even when we're working out how to move, we don't need to say much, like 2, 3. That's how we ask whether to stand at the second or third marker on the stage. We've reached a point where we can talk entirely in nouns. I could sense how close you are in episode 144 of To Do XTXT Abandoned Stars, when the older members were being protective of you, even though they were equally scared. I felt there was some still kindness in the world in that moment. Soobin saying he can't do it alone, and Yeonjun said, don't send him in by himself. We know each other so well that we don't hide anything. Working with people who you get along with that well is an absolute blessing. It's a good thing too, since we spend more time with each other than our families. It wasn't easy to get there, though. I don't mean to be blunt, but we first came together to work together, meaning there were conflicts, and it took some time to figure out what didn't work. Sometimes I even felt it would be easier to go along, but now doing it alone is challenging. You even brought Yeonjun a lunch you made for him when he went to do a pre-recording to promote Gum. I know one thing for sure. I think I'm extremely attentive towards the other members, and I'm always monitoring their performances. Maybe if it were one of the other members, I would have expressed how much I care in a different way. But for Yeonjun, I thought it would be best if I went there in person. He finds that kind of thing touching. I was worried because he loves to eat, and yet he probably couldn't eat properly and would just be eating fast food from the store. I just happened to be free, so I dropped by, gave it to him, and came back to get some sleep. Only love can make that possible. You're really good about showing the people around you how much you care. I'm actually not close with that many people. There's people I care for or see all the time, or do stuff with, and I feel like even I've put in the time and effort, it still requires a lot of opening up and communication. That's what the people in my life mean to me. With the group, I feel like it has to be that way to end up with better results and build trust. That means that sometimes when we're talking together, we're not just saying nice things. If all you're looking to do is keep things roughly as they are, you could get away with saying nice things exclusively, but sometimes you just have to say or hear unpleasant things. That's very true, right? That could honestly be hard to handle, but it's love that keeps you going, isn't it? It's important how I express things, but I think it's also important what the other members think of me. If they're working with the knowledge that I'm saying those things out of love, they wouldn't think it's absurd. It'd just be nagging otherwise. It takes a lot of effort from everyone involved. But you have nothing but love when it comes to Moa. I randomly saw how one time while Yeonjun was doing pre-recording, you talked about how Moa's wait times need to be shortened. I hope our fans can have the best fan experience possible. I felt like it would be better if it came back out a little sooner in the space between songs to talk. Spending a little extra time on fixing ourselves up doesn't really make us look that much better, I told our staff we should hurry out there, and I guess they listened. You also left a comment on Weverse saying wishing other people happiness is one of the ways I've found happiness myself. I'm guessing you had an experience that led you to feel that way. When I meet fans, sometimes they say things like, "You saved my life." Honestly, all I could do was do my best with singing, put out some albums, and get up on stage. I think maybe the reason they say it that way is because getting to know TXT and seeing us brings out positive feelings for them. I thought that wishing happiness for the same people who make me feel happy and wishing the best for them would send more positive vibes back their way again. I think that moment really hit me. I really enjoy reading these interviews because it really shows you what kind of person they are. Person, not simply as an idol member or artist. And reading this magazine interview shows that, they have such a healthy mindset while being ambitious about their career, right? They want to achieve more, right? They want to reach more milestones, but at the same time, they have great teamwork. They understand how precious their members are, and most of all, they love their fans, MOAs, and they really care about them. And it just shows in what these members say in interviews. Of course, these interviews are designed in a way that that shows great size of these people. Good dimensions, great positive dimensions of these members. But I feel like even then, you can realize when the interviewees say some things that they don't mean, right? But I feel like in this case with TXT members, they're really sincere about what they're talking about. Okay, let's see. You guys are talking about Suga? Watching Yoongi's expression so many times. What are you guys concerned about? So we have one more interview left, Yeonjun, but I will read it on my own and edit it into a video after I do recording of Korean version too. And Yeonjun will be a special one because each member referred to him in their own interview, right, with his solo project. and I would love to hear from him about the whole process that put into his mixtape. But before we wrap up, what are you guys talking about? Thanks for your time. I have to go now. I may be able to join again at the end of next week when summer break begins. Summer break? With the recording until then. I'll have to do with the recording until then. 안녕하세요. Janice, if you're... Where is Janice located in? Yeah, if you see this, let me know. I wish I could speak Korean. I've tried teaching myself, but it's a very hard grammar. Learning German was hard enough. Oh. Okay. Maybe they are in Europe. By the way, if you want to say goodbye in Korean, is 안녕히 계세요 instead of 안녕하세요. So, quick Korean lesson. It's confusing, right? So, next time, 안녕하세요 is a hi, right? Hello. Goodbye is 안녕히 계세요 or 안녕히 가세요. But yeah, I hope you have a great day. Let's see, what are you guys worried about? Suga has loads of patience, especially with 막내 line. He's protective of younger artists. He's a legend. True. 라이브니까 가끔씩 댓글도 읽고 좀 더 인터랙티브하게 해주시면 더 재밌을 것 같아요. 감사합니다. 네, 최대한 그렇게 하려고 합니다. 대신 오늘 같은 경우는 매거진이기 때문에 길죠? 오늘 1시간 30분이 넘게 걸렸기 때문에 좀 더 읽는데 집중을 했고요. Just wondering whether HYBEBOY managed to complete Beyond the Story. Oh, thanks for pointing out. You know, I've only made a video on chapter 1, right? I've already finished the book on my own. I meant to record it, but I was kind of thinking about what's the best way to do it, you know? So I'm in the process of recording chapter 2. Maybe I should read it during the daily morning live. I don't know, but I'm thinking about that. But yeah, thanks for pointing out. Okay, what else are you guys talking about? They're a great team. Yes, it shows. Hope new CEO Big Kid has an okay time. Okay. What's her name? I made a video about her. Big Kid CEO. 신선정, right? 대표. It used to be 신성정, but now it's 신성정. 안녕히 계세요. Yes, exactly. I slept standing up, leaning against the doors in NYC subway. Why is HYBEBOY HB up so early in the morning? Because I'm a vampire. I never sleep. Just kidding. I think TXT has a bright future ahead of them. Yes, exactly. And after reading this interview, I'm not worried at all. Even though I think their announcement about the long-term break made some fans worried, but no. And yes, they have to finish. They have to do their military service because they're Koreans. I wonder, Huening Kai, is he a Korean citizen? Does he have to do a military service? No, right? Because he's a U.S. citizen. But other 4 members have to do a military service. But even then, I'm not worried. They will have a great future ahead. Great career. I don't sleep much either. Cool. I hope you enjoyed this. So yes, I will record reading these interviews in Korean, and then I'll finish with Yeonjun's interview as well and upload it on my channel when I can, because it takes time to read this interview. Um, cool. I'm glad that you showed up this morning too. Um, hope you have a wonderful day. I saw that you guys are talking about like different things. BTS members, BTS, Suga, learning Korean. So yes, all this good stuff. Keep it up, and then we can talk more about it in the future. When do you think they'll do their military service? Um, they said they're in their 6th year since debut, right? So, probably after this. Well, I mean, you never know. Um, and even though they're a great team, fans and the company and even the members get nervous as the contract is about to be over, right? Because all the negotiation that has to take place with signing another contract is could get nerve wracking, but I don't know, maybe in 2 years, who knows? But yeah, that's what Korean guys had to do. Eat well, hi boy. Thank you. I should pay you for keeping fans interested. Well, what I hope is that Hype does good job so that their stock price would go up. Funny thing, some haters, I read comments, right, and some people say like, how much Hype pay you? How much does Hype pay you to make these videos? I'm assuming the videos meaning like Minijin related contents, right? But I want to say each time, yo, it's not like Hive pays me. In fact, I have paid Hive by investing in them, and so far I've only lost money, right? So as long as they do a great job as a company, and then as long as the stock price goes up healthily, I'll be happy as a shareholder. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. But thanks for bringing it up. I heard a lot of MOAs saying they needed to take a break, so why would they be worried now that they are? I was just um, guessing. But overall, I think MOAs as a fandom has a very healthy mindset, right? Um, Overall, I think they believe that TXT deserves it, you know. Um, so I don't think they're worried. Headlining in April. They will be back in April for sure. True. Very true. On the book, yes. Beyond the story we're talking about. Contractual renewal at least 2 years before the deadline. Hive usually starts negotiating the contractual renewal at least 2 years before deadline. We're talking about BTS and right BTS, yeah. But that might have been a special case, so we'll see. All right. Cool. Anything else? Oh, what's going on here? All right, guys. Once again, thanks for showing up. See you again. Today is Thursday, by Korean time. Let's have amazing day, a lovely day. And if you're watching this after the live stream is over, yeah, share your thoughts about what you think about this interview, these interviews with TXT members. Okay? Let's stay positive, classy, and respectful. Thank you guys. Peace and love. Bye bye. Peace. 하이보님 덕에 하이보 주식 샀어요. 그거는 어, 네. 투자는 각자 하는 것이기 때문에 어, 신중한 결정 내리시길 바라겠고요. 저는 결코 투자를 장려하지는 않습니다. 대신에 이렇게 뭐 정보를 제공하긴 하죠. Will you do your series regarding the political happenings in South Korea on your other channel? I'll have to see. I'll have to see. I've been staying updated all the time because it's a huge issue, but I wonder how much demand there will be, though. But yeah. Bye bye for real. Take care.